Hello everyone, NinjaNick333. We are here back for another round of this League Challenge / Win a Box tournament. This is the top 8 cut. Yes, that is right. Top 8 cut at a League Challenge. Who would have thought? The League Challenge does technically end after Swiss. The points have been awarded. The player on the right here, I believe his name is Nathaniel, did win the League Challenge. He is playing Mew VMAX. He was first after Swiss. However, Flipside Gaming likes to turn these into a win-a-box, so they take the top 8 players from the end of Swiss at their League Challenge and play a win-a-box tournament from there. So everybody does get prizes, even if you lose in top 8. But first place does end up with a full box of Scarlet and Violet. So this is always something really fun to do here. They used to just do the win-a-box tournaments, but they have been combining it with League Challenges now that League Challenges are back. So we do have Scott here on the left again playing that Arceus Duraludon Vulpix deck. So it should be extremely favored of a matchup for him. Or actually, this wasn't even a top 8 one. There wasn't enough players for top 8 this time. It was just top 4. So this is the top 4 match. I apologize. So we do have the double Drapion here in the deck for Scott, so that should make this a considerably easy matchup for him. So we will just have to see if Nathaniel can maybe path judge hard enough to be able to just win the game off of that, because that's generally how Mew wins games this time in this format, is just the path judge is so powerful right now. Usually you play like 4 Path to the Peak and 3 to 4 Lost Vacuum. It's a great way to thin out your hand, even having that many Lost Vacuums. Because of the loss of a Quick Ball, it makes it a lot harder to discard cards out of your hand. So it just makes it a little bit more intuitive than before to actually play Path to the Peak in your deck. So we are going to get down a Mew V with the Feather Ball after starting Mew V and Jetisect. We are also going to Ultra Ball. We're going to get rid of a Fan of Waves. If we were going second in this matchup and your opponent played a double Turbo Energy turn 1 on their Arceus that they started, that would be pretty sweet. That's what that Fan of Waves is for, but unfortunately that's not how this worked. We are going first for Nathaniel, and that's exactly what you want to do if you're him. If you're playing Mew, you don't attack until turn 2 if you're playing the quad double turbo energy version. So perfectly fine, really good setup here. We get that second Genesect out with the Ultra Ball. We are going to use our first Fusion Strike System ability to draw until we have 4 cards in our hand. Also love the full arts. I don't see a lot of people who play the full arts of the Mew stuff, just because there are so many printings of the half arts. You got like the League Battle decks and everything, that a lot of people just don't have them. We also see the Path to the Peak coming off that second Genesect and just a pass. So that is pretty good here. I'm not 100% sure if I would have put the Path to the Peak down here, just because I would want to save it for the Starbirth turn from Arceus. But if his hand is really dead and he wanted to go for a Luminion, now he definitely can't because of the path. So it's not necessarily wrong to do. I just, in my opinion, wouldn't do it. But it could work out very well if Scott's hand is dead. But it looks like he does have quite a big hand. Maybe Nathaniel mulliganed once or twice. We did start the Duraludon. That is the worst start in the deck, pretty much. You don't want to start with Big Boy there, because he is thick and hard to move. So we do use the Chorus's Experiment as our supporter for the turn, and this is where this is the one match where I was really joking with Scott about how he should be playing Cramorant, because he does play Chorus a couple of times. Or maybe that was earlier. I don't even remember anymore. So we do use the Chorus's Experiment. We are going to put another Duraludon V as well as a Metal Energy, it looks like, into the Lost Zone here. I think that's perfectly fine. You don't want to use Duraludon in this matchup because Duraludon is actually not very good against Mew. You would think it is because Mew plays only Special Energy, and Duraludon blocks Pokemon that have special energy attached from doing damage to it, but Mew can copy a second Mew's Max Miracle Attack, or the VMAX rather. The Cross Fusion Strike can copy the Max Miracle off a second Mew VMAX and use that as its attack for turn. That ignores all effects on your opponent's Pokemon, so it does shred through the ability of the Duraludon VMAX. And then you could always shuffle your Mews back into the deck with a Psychic Leap you copy off of the Mew V, and you end up in a point where none of your Pokemon are damaged, and you eventually take down a Duraludon in 3 hits. You wouldn't do any damage with it if you were attacking with Psychic Leap, but that would just be to essentially heal off your own Pokemon. So we are going to use Lost Vacuum to Lost Zone our own Roxanne, as well as our own Path to the Peak, just so that we can use our Genesect abilities again. We are going to bench a third Mew here, rather. We do have the evolution onto the active Mew VMAX. We're going to be able to draw until we have 5 cards this time, which is just one more card, which is a Nest Ball. Now we will be able to get another Genesect V, if there is one. But I did watch this game mostly live. He does actually prize double Genesect V. So he was going to go for a Genesect V here, but unfortunately for him, the only Pokemon left in deck that's not named Mew V is Oricorio, so might as well go for that. You already have 3 Mews in play, so you don't need a 4th. Might as well just go for the Oricorio, just in case you do get hit by an Arceus V. The 180 that it does will be 160 instead, so it can't one-shot a Mew V if he plays Boss's Orders. So we do see the knockout onto the Duraludon VMAX because of a Power Tablet. And now Scott's going to have to build an Arceus V-Star here. Or retreat into a Drapion. Either way. Either way is fine. So he has the Drapion here. So now the thing that you really want to do is, if you're Scott, you have the Double Turbo and the Choice Belt already in hand. Use Starbirth for the Boss's Orders. Use the Choice Belt and the Double Turbo onto the Genesect. Well, that's... Let me think. So that's 1, 8, 9, 12. Yeah, so you will exact knock out a Genesect even through the Oricorio. And you would also Starbirth for the second Drapion. And then you would use that Arceus to take the knockout on the Genesect, and you'd charge 2 energy to the one Drapion and 1 energy to the other. So that then they're both within like Double Turbo Raihan range of being able to attack, even under Path. And that is the good play here. But Scott does not realize that this is his first time ever playing the deck. He just picked it up for this tournament and never played a single game with it beforehand. This is his first time playing against Mew with it. So he's just like, I know that Drapion has its ability. I can just attack with it and take 3 prize cards right now. It's also okay to do it this way too, because the opponent here has already Lost Zoned his own Roxanne. So if you do take the 3 prize cards with Drapion, normally the thing that you're most fearful of is the Roxanne, which would be another reason why you would want to take 2 prize cards first before you take a knockout on a Mew VMAX. But it also puts you in this checkmate position to where now you have 2 Drapions set up and you've already taken 2 prize cards, and now what does your opponent do? Even if they do knock out one of the 2 Drapion, you could always just knock out another Genesect with another Boss's Orders with the Arceus that has the Choice Belt on it. But we do see the knockout with the Drapion. We're going to put 6 damage counters down there onto the Arceus V. We're going to take 3 prize cards, and now all we have to do is find our second Drapion in order to win the game. We've also Lost Zoned our opponent's Mew VMAX, which is kind of funny. We are also getting our own Lost City Lost Zoned, which is actually good for yourself technically, because now your Drapion, if it's knocked out, doesn't go to Lost Zone, but this deck doesn't play any Pokemon Recovery. But if it was playing something along the lines of Miriam in the deck or Clara, you would be able to get that Drapion back now that there's no Lost City in play. But either way, Nathaniel here is really going to be looking for a Path to the Peak to make sure that that next Drapion that comes out does not one-shot your next Mew VMAX. And he has already taken 2 prize cards this game, so if he can take the knockout on this Drapion and get the Path to the Peak to stick 1 turn, Nathaniel can actually win the game. It would be very easy to knock out the Drapion and then the Arceus V after that. That already has the 60 damage on it. So we do see the judge is going to shuffle both players' hands in, and we're going to redraw a fresh 4 cards. And we do really need to see that path to the peak this turn. We have 5 Pokemon in play, so we can draw until we have 5 with the first Genesect. Scott almost thinks he only has 4 Pokemon in play, but he missed the Oricorio, so he just scooches that over a little bit so that he can see it a little bit better. And we are going to see a switch. Just trying to play cards out of the hand so that maybe we can use the next Genesect to find that next path to the peak. We really need that path to the peak here. We also need a power tablet in order to be able to knock out the Drapion as well. But that switch has made it so that he can... Yeah, and that switch has made it so the same Mew VMAX can attack a second time in a row. Gets the Choice Belt, which is what he needs. That works just the same as the power tablet. So we will be able to take the knockout on the Drapion. We get Lost City, which is unfortunately not Path to the Peak. So that will put Drapion in the Lost Zone. But again, Nathaniel should be fully aware that this deck plays double Drapion. So he will be very fearful of that coming out. And we have not seen the Starbirth yet because of the way that Scott played that previous turn where he just retreated into the Drapion. He still has Starbirth available to him. So as long as that second Drapion is not in the prize cards, Scott can just Starbirth for another double turbo and Drapion, and then just do the same play again, retreat into the Drapion and win. But Nathaniel has to do whatever he can here. He does bench his next Genesect, which he was able to get off the prize cards here, and does take the knockout on the Drapion. That will Lost Zone it, and that is put into the correct spot. And we do have a double turbo already and an Ultra Ball, so we don't even have to use Starbirth, but we are going to anyway, and we are just going to search our deck to grab the other Drapion, and we are going to retreat into it. And if I were Nathaniel, I would say, do you have the way to retreat or the switch? Because, you know, maybe he just prized all of those other options, but Scott does have it in hand, so he did win. And Nathaniel's like, yeah, I wasn't able to get to this path to the peak that I needed. So I think Nathaniel was only playing maybe 2 Path to the Peak and maybe 2 Lost City. I know that that's a way that the Mew VMAX decks were playing pre-rotation, but I think post-rotation you really have to play quad Path to the Peak, or you just have to play the Meloetta Deoxys build. Either way. But yeah, guys, that was it for top 4. That was our last game of single elimination. Our first game of single elimination, our last game of best of 1. The finals is best of 3 this time. Don't ask me why. Sometimes it's best of 1 and sometimes it's best of 3 for finals. I don't know how they decide it. But do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe and all of that, and we will see you guys next time.